Hello, people. Welcome back to another video by your good friend, Chat Marco, the Big Anaki. Make sure you guys check out my other social media and smash that like button and let's have a conversation. So this video is called the 32-year-old virgin. Now, what makes 32 so significant? And I don't know, it might sound weird, right? Because usually like 30 is the defining age, right? Like, I guess the virgin milestones are like 18, maybe 21, 25, 30, 40, right? Right? Like, those are typically the virgin milestone. But specifically, I would say 18, 25, 30, 40. But for me, I actually think it's 32. Right? You guys know I just turned 32 like about a month ago. So why is it so significant? Why is becoming a 32-year-old virgin significant? At least for me, I can only speak from my perspective because there has been a significant change versus when I turned 30. And you guys know how in our culture and society and life, when you hit a specific age, it's supposed to signify something, right? Like when you turn 18, it's supposed to signify like adulthood. But just because we draw that line in the sand and say, okay, this is when you're an adult, it doesn't mean you feel that way when you turn 18. Right? You might feel like an adult before that based on the responsibilities that you had growing up. Or it might take longer for you to feel like an adult. Maybe you don't feel like it till you move out of your parents' house or this happened or that. But you know, we have these age-related milestones and then you're supposed to be something by that age. You're supposed to feel something, but that's just not always the case. And I know that when I turned into a 30-year-old virgin, like that was supposed to be a certain like significance. It was supposed to mean something of significance. And look, I ran with it. You know, I played into the whole 30-year-old virgin meme and all that. I had my fun with it. We did the Wizard countdown stream. But to be completely honest, I did not really feel any different. I didn't feel any different at 30 than I did at 20, at 25. And I guess for some people that could be seen as a bad thing or a good thing. But I just didn't feel any different. I played into the meme for the fun of it, but I really didn't feel any different. But I noticed as I was approaching 32 specifically, that's when it started to hit me. That's when I started to feel a difference or a transition. And it's kind of like when I think back to when I had asked out Iris, right? And I think what Iris is like, she was like 19 then, right? And she listed like the age gap as one of the potential issues of us being together and something like that, right? No big deal. But that kind of was kind of like I wouldn't say like a wake-up call, but it was like it put me on notice, like, wow, like it has been that long. Right? Even though, you know, in my mind, I'm still looking at women like, okay, as long as she's an adult of legal age, I would be with her. I have aged to the point where younger girls could look at me and see, oh, he's too old for me. Oh, he's over 30 or whatever. And it's like, oh shit, like that's something that's real now. That's a factor. And it's like when I turned 30, I didn't feel it. I didn't feel that. But as I was approaching 32, that's when it really started to kind of like sink in. And it's like now when I go to the gym, when I go to the store, the mall, whenever I see young, attractive women, it's not the same way that I used to. Right now, even though I never felt like I was a part of the game anyway, right? You know, you guys know I always took myself out the game. I was never actively dating anyway. But still, like one thing that was true was that like I felt like I was amongst like my peer group, you know, even though I'm not desired by the opposite sex, at least I'm that undesirable guy who's like in that range, like that age range, that group, you know. It's like when you're in high school, you might be the nerd or the geek that nobody likes or the girls don't like, but like you're still within that group. That's your peer group. Maybe you could glow up and get one of those girls. Maybe you could change something about yourself and get one of those girls or something like that, right? Like you can make changes to play the game differently. And that's how I used to feel. I used to kind of feel like the nerd that girls just didn't want, but like if I wanted to, I could play the game, basically. Now I'm no longer like the just the nerd that's on the sideline. I'm the creepy janitor, right? I'm the creepy older janitor guy, right? With the porn magazines in the basement. And it's interesting to me, right? Because when I was turning 30, that was what I thought I was going to feel, and I didn't. And I didn't feel it until recently. I didn't feel like definitively that I had sort of aged out of being within that younger group of like, again, I'm not in the game, but I could get into it if I wanted to. Like, because really all you got to do is kind of hit the switch, right? Like if you're a 25-year-old guy and you're not dating, you're MGTOW, you're red pill, whatever, you're incel, you could hit the switch and start trying. It doesn't mean you're going to get anything, but you can always hit the switch and start doing things differently. And I always felt like that. I always felt like if nothing else, I could transition into trying to date and things like that. Not saying that that was what I was trying to do, but I felt that way. And I noticed that the difference now that I feel having crossed the line into the realm of 32 and beyond is like, I don't feel that way anymore. I feel like definitively and without a doubt that ship has sailed. Like I'm no longer in that group of younger men that is just, and again, I know that there are younger women who date older guys and shit. Like, I'm not saying it like it's just an impossibility, but it's different when you're old enough to where it's gonna be a problem or an issue more often than it's not. Like if I go out and I'm talking to younger, attractive women, it's the age difference. The age is more likely to be an issue than not, or at least a factor. And I never felt that before until recently. Now, having said all that, I'm not saying this like it's a bad thing. I know it sounds like I'm being pessimistic or something, but you guys know I don't give a fuck. But it's more so just the fact that, like, it's, how do I put it? It's like I made a conscious decision not to get on the ship of dating and relationships and all that. Like I said, fuck it, I'm not playing the game. I'm not getting on that ship. Throughout the entirety of my young adulthood, I lived my life. And when I would go out in the city or just living life, I could look to my left and I saw that ship just sitting there at the dock. Like it was there waiting for me. And I always said, no, fuck it, I'm good. Right? And then one day you wake up and that ship is leaving. That ship is finally setting. It's been there for years, right? I had every opportunity to get up there and I never did. And it's finally leaving the port. The dock is leaving, right? It's right. And I'm looking at it and it's real now. It's like, whoa, like it's really over. It's real, like that. It is literally a transition to like a new period in my life in regards to how I would deal with women. This isn't to say like the ship has sailed on any dating or whatever. I don't give a fuck, but it's not that bad. But rather, there is a difference now, right? I'm no longer in that age range, that age group of like the young adults looking for love or eligible for love, and right, I'm in a completely different group now, undeniably, right, where those people now, those girls are gonna look at me differently, right? I'm daddy now. Right, but seriously, and I don't mean to say this like it's a bad, like, again, it's not, to me, it's nothing bad. I just wanted to talk about it because I feel like what I was supposed to have when I turned into a 30-year-old virgin wasn't there the way it is now. You know, we had fun with it. We had the stream, but it wasn't real then. It's like I just hit the age. But now it's real. It's like, oh shit, like I'm like, the ship is really gone. And even though I willingly took myself out the game, I'm okay with the decision that I made. Like when you see it, when you really go through that transition and it's like real, you know, you do feel something. I don't feel anything bad. I don't feel anything good. It's just like, yeah, like I really did that shit. I really made the decision not to play the game, right? But there was a time when at any moment I could have changed my mind and I could have played the game. I could have had the young adult love, right? I could have had my 500 days of summer. And then I wake up one day and that's not an option anymore. It's not there anymore, you know? And it's just like, yeah, it's real now. It's real. The ship has really sailed. It's going bye-bye, right? And I'm waving goodbye. And, but having said that, you know, it was the path that I chose. You know, it was the course in life that I decided upon. I have no regrets about it, but I kind of just want to mark the occasion. You know, like this video for me is like really marking the occasion because now I really do feel like the 30-year-old virgin. You know, now I really feel it, and I'm really processing the reality of not having the choice to pivot back. You know what I'm saying? Like it's different when you can't just, you know, spin around and go to the ship is gone. You know, even if I decided now I want to start dating, it's not going to be what it was going to be at 25, 22, 27, whatever. Like it's a completely different game now. It's a completely different set of expectations and circumstances now. And I really feel it, you know, and I'm okay with it. It's cool shit, but I'm marking the occasion here, right? Because I feel like everything that it was supposed to be, everything that I was supposed to feel, I finally feel it now, you know, and I think it's important because it's easy to talk that shit when you, right? It's easy to talk that shit when you got the opportunity to pivot back, right? When you can change your mind. And now there ain't no more changing of the mind, right? Like I said no to it. I didn't play the game, and that at least like that 500 days of summer shit is gone, you know, and it's never coming back, right? And I gotta process that, and I gotta live with that. I gotta deal with that, which is fine by me, but still, you know, there's a certain significance to that. And you know, it kind of makes me think of, I don't know if you guys seen that picture, but there's a picture, like a meme picture of is like dating over 30 and how it's basically just all bad options, right? It's like single forever, fat women, single moms, right? And I don't know if I would say it's exactly that bleak, but you know, that meme exists for a reason. You know, and but yeah, it's kind of interesting to be in this position, right? And to really know that it's over, right? Like it's not just something that I'm saying anymore. I made the decision and there ain't no going back from it. You know, I think back to that moment in Ashita Nojo when Joe Yabuki is talking to one of his would have been love interest. I think her name was Noriko. And she was always, you know, trying to get with him in subtle ways and things like that. She wasn't like super aggressive or anything, but she liked him. But boxing always came first for Joe. And then there's a episode where they're out one night and Noriko is trying to understand why Joe loves boxing so much when it's such a really hellish lifestyle with so many sacrifices and so much pain and struggle. And, you know, he explains to her why he loves boxing so much and whatnot. And then, you know, I think she says something along the lines of, I guess I'll never understand you. And then Joe turns around and Noriko is gone, right? Like he's like, she's just gone. And that's kind of how I felt, or how I feel now, right? It's like for years, Noriko was there in the background. Joe could have at any moment said, Noriko, I want you, I love you, I'll fight, whatever. Like he could have, but he never did. And then it finally came to a head that night. Because that was the last straw for her. That was her last attempt to try to understand him. And he didn't go for it, pretty much, right? He, in a sense, he chose boxing over love. And she understood that. But that moment when Joe turns around and she's just like gone, almost like instantly, like she just disappeared. I feel like there's so much weight to that moment, right? Because it's like, it's telling you that that whole plot line is over. Right. And soon after that, Noriko ended up marrying Nishi, which was, you know, Joe Yabuki's gym mate, who he, you know, kind of grew up with and sparred with and whatnot. They were boxers together. But the point is, like, that moment, like, that's exactly how I feel now. Right. Like, I made my decision and then I turned around and all of a sudden, not saying that there was ever a girl there, like who knows, right? Like I could have tried and got nothing. I could have tried and got everything or whatever in between. Who knows? We'll never know. But I just feel like that moment, like I feel that now. When he turned around and she was fine, she was gone. She was gone and she was never gonna come back, you know. And then he moved on, she moved on, you know. And that's pretty much exactly what I feel now, right? It's like, damn. She's finally gone, or it's finally over. Let me get back to what I was doing. Let me get back to getting punched in the face. but again, man, like, I don't want this video to come across as being like pessimistic or negative or nothing like that, because it's really anything but. It's just, for me, it was a real moment. You know, it's a real moment where in life you make decisions to do certain things and to stay away from stay away from others. But you don't always have the option to pivot and to get back into that other position. Sometimes when you make a decision to walk a certain path, other doors close for you and they're never going to open again. And I think for me, that was the significance of what I felt turning 32, which again was supposed to be at 30, but it only really hit me until now. And it's like, wow, like that was the path that I really chose. I stand on that path, but I'm finally at the point where there is no going back. That ship is never coming back, right? Noriko is gone. Noriko is gone and she ain't coming back, you know? And so from here is, you got to live with that. You got to live with the path that you chose. You got to live with what you decided, you know? And that's some real shit. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video and I will see you on the next. So, Johnny.